Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Commodities Report, starting with Bitcoin. And with Bitcoin here, we've got an entry here, and we had our stop here. We've moved our stop to here, and we've moved our stop up to this point. We were talking about a trade here yesterday, but we didn't put the video out, so I'm just going to remove that. We've got wave 4 here with we had these 5 waves up here for 1 and 2, and then we're going up for wave 3 and 4 and 5. So we're moving up here higher, and yeah, we'll take part profit at 40,000, and we'll try to get a little bit more out of it, but we'll adjust that when we get there. I want to talk about the bigger picture with Bitcoin today. So the basic count that we have to the upside, so I don't need to go over that, but I do want to put forward a different bullish count, and I want to put the reasoning behind it as well. So you may know that there's, Bitcoin is got a correlation with the Nasdaq, and the Nasdaq stocks generally they move in the same sort of direction, and so this is Bitcoin down the bottom and the Nasdaq to the upside, and you can see they generally trend with each other. I could put it on a weekly and overlay them, become a much nicer picture with all of that, but they do correlate reasonably well in a general sense. So that's what I want to talk about. I want to sort of compare. I want to show you something first. So this is the count for the Nasdaq. So we know that the Nasdaq stocks are in a big bullish trend. So we've got wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for 1, and then we'll pull back for wave 2 here. Okay, now obviously the Nasdaq is, has got 100 stocks in here, of course. So when we look at some of those stocks with that particular pattern to the upside, and that was a weekly chart we're looking at, now we're looking at a daily chart. This is Microsoft here, and with Microsoft here we've got 1 and 2. And also note too that this low here in November is basically Bitcoin had its low in November as well. Okay, so what I'm suggesting here is I'm suggesting we could overlay Bitcoin's move up from November in much the same count that we have here, because this is a count that the Nasdaq, as a 100 moving average over those Nasdaq stocks is displaying. Now, of course, there's different stocks have been doing different things, but this is really the Nasdaq count here, and it's just not isolated to Microsoft. We've got Google as well here, so we've got wave 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. So what we're seeing here is we know that the move down in the Nasdaq and the S&P and so on is corrective coming down here, but now we know that we've got an impulse wave to the upside. So we can look at all of this move, these 5 waves up here. If we get 5 waves in the opposite direction of the trend, and the previous trend was down, then 5 waves here would give us another 5 waves over here. So this would be a 3rd wave over here, then a 4th, and then a 5th. And this will be the same for, let me just move this across here and this across here and bring in Amazon's another one. Very clear, we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. I don't think you could find a nice account really. So when this does top out here, we're going to have an ABC correction. Now, this is the reason I'm showing this for, is because I think that Bitcoin could do the same. Now, it may not, but it could. So what I'm doing is I'm just preparing ourselves for this. So when Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Netflix, Nvidia, Apple, yada, 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 all top out and the Nasdaq tops out, well, then the S&P will top out as well, of course, and then we'll have some type of correction here. And it's likely that we'll be looking at this. The only other variation on this that I could find would be looking at all of this up here as wave 1 and 2, having a smaller correction, and then up for wave 3, 4 and 5, and continuing up here in a bigger market. That's possible as well, but the primary count would be a deeper pullback here. Now, it doesn't have to pull back to the 60, 50, 60%. It might just pull back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, so to speak. So this count here is really the NASDAQ count. And the NASDAQ was in October here, I think the 10th of October, because it's got other stocks in there and stuff. But most of these other ones here, this was a little bit, Amazon was a little bit later in December. Let's just check on these again. Microsoft was in November. The other one we looked at, Google here, that was October, November as well here, beginning of November. So they've all basically got the same low in place, okay? So I'm thinking that, well, we should actually see if we can get a count that looks like this in Bitcoin. Now, it may or may not be the case, but I think it's just worth having a chat about, you know. So this Bitcoin move here from the low of November, wherever that, sometime in November we can pin it down, but the move up here that we're getting in the NASDAQ here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, maybe we need to think about this in much the same light as well. So when the NASDAQ tops out and has because it's going to be a decent type of correction, it's not that Bitcoin has to follow it, but it's got the possibility to follow that, so we'll need to be aware of it, because everybody's thinking to the upside. We need to be aware of what's to the downside. That's my point. So in looking at that, this would be my count to the upside for Bitcoin. So we got this November low here, and then we could look at it doesn't have to be like this, but we could look at this as 1 and 2 here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the third wave, fourth wave, and then the fifth wave here. And then once this tops out here, once we've got a nice 5 waves structure in here, which will top us out around the 40,000, then we could be up for an ABC pattern here. This will be the 61.8% here, and then up at that point. So that's what I was thinking. That was just on my mind, and I just wanted to share that. Is that true or not? I don't know, but it does sort of highlight a point that we always get the opposite of what we're thinking in the market. The market's bullish at the moment, so then we get a very, wave 2s are normally sort of sharp and swift, and that will blow people out of the water a little bit. But if we're prepared for it, then we'll be prepared for it, and we'll look at it as the last buying opportunity here for Bitcoin. Do you know what I mean? So it will be testing, it will be looking for support on these highs here, roughly, Look, it's not to say that this is the case. It's just something that's worthwhile having a bit of a look at. So that's my spiel today for Bitcoin. Okay, well, that can stay there, and I'll just adjust a few things. So now we'll come over to the US dollar. Now, there's always been 2 counts for the US dollar. So my primary count has been that we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here for wave 1 or wave A, and then we would have an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave up here for wave 2 or B. And in that case, then we will just continue to mosey on down here. Do you know? That was the primary count. The other count here, of course, would be looking at this a little bit differently, where we have wave 1 over here, and we look at all of this as a triangle pattern here, as an A, B, C, D, and E. The thing that I didn't like about that is that this didn't count nicely down here as a corrective wave. That was my reasoning for not putting it as the primary count. But one A, B, C, D, E here and here. So this would make it an A wave up here, a B wave here at the 61.8% mark where we are at the moment, and then a C wave up here for this. Now, the other reason that I don't think this is the case for a push up here is that of where gold is at the moment. Gold is showing a very bullish case and does the mirror, pretty much the mirror opposite of what the US dollar is doing. Now, it can sway out of that, but it's normally has been pretty sort of accurate. So, yeah, so, but we can see the stochastics is sort of all creasing up down here and sort of, you know, getting ready as a spring to bounce back and those sort of things. So as a bearish count, as this wave 1 here, I think we'll have a look at this. Is what we need is to have a little wave 4 in here and then a wave 5 here and then an ABC bounce back up, testing somewhere up here and then down again. It's either that or from this low here we'll have to push up from that point. So I need a little bit more price action here to be able to figure it out for us. But like I said, the gold would be telling me that we've got this top in here already, but I don't have any evidence here on that. The other point with all of this too, which I've just missed out, is that just coming back here for a moment, the weekly chart for the TLTs here, the bond market here. So this is a weekly chart. We've got wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So we're getting an impulse wave off the low. We've got good volume in here, all of that sort of stuff. It's appearing that that low would be in place, and we'll also be looking for an ABC. So while the bonds are rallying, the dollar will drop, and then we can also have a look at the 10-year yields as well. They'll be doing the mirror opposite, so they will have this count here of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up here. Now, it is possible, I've got to sort the dollar out first, but it is possible to have a bit of an ABC here and have one more high here, and that's the same with the bonds having another low in place. I just need a little bit more time to actually figure that out, but it's sort of giving me the bias that this is here. But I've looked at the 30s, the 5s, and the 2s, and some of the Deutsche markets and others and so on. They're all a bit of a mixed bag about calling a top in. But we do have this is an impulse wave to the downside here. So if I go from here to, I think, 2-hour chart, I think we can look at it sort of thing. So I can see here that we've got 1 and 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the third wave, the fourth wave. I don't really understand this in here. It's a little bit, I haven't had the time to sort of understand it, so it'll play out. But it could just continue to cascade down as well. We're seeing the bonds on the upside kind of do much the same as well here on the 2-hour chart. So very clear 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, fourth. So just a matter of understanding this here. It could top out very, when the dollar bottoms out, then this will top out. But because we got 5 waves here, you know, because we got 5 waves here, we're going to have some sort of ABC and then another 5 up. And the point with this though is that if this was going to be some sort of wave 4 or something, when the time it gets this wave, these 5 in here, then it's going to be too high. So the likelihood of calling this in here as a low, there should be another 5 in there somewhere. I don't know where that's gone, but is highly probable, you know. So just coming back to these markets here, the dollar here, I just want to go in there and just explain what needs to be sorted out in terms of price action. So on an intraday basis, and this is the top here, possible top. So we can have it that we can have an A wave here, and then a B wave here, then 1 and 2, and then all the way down for 3, 4, 5. So this would be 5 C of B here. So that would need to be the low in here, this one here. So in this case, it would need to just push up from that point. Now the bearish case would be looking at this as wave 1 here and 2 here and 3 here coming into play here, and then a wave 4. So it's going to bounce off 102 and then move on down from that point. So in this case, it would be wave 4 coming back to this wave 4 roughly, and then down here for this. and then an ABC pattern coming back up here somewhere and then going down. So I need to get past this particular space here, unless it's going to keep on cascading down, which is, you know, sometimes, as I mentioned before, you get 5-wave structure, and it's a nice 5 waves, and that's what you expect when you're looking for Elliott, and then a nice ABC pattern, and then you can look to go short at that point. But sometimes you get this situation where it just ends up sort of keeps doing this, and it's basically cascading down, and it never really kicks back at that point, and at some point it really lets go because it's a series of 1s and 2s in there. I don't think that's the case here, but this wide wave 2 here is more like a wave B here. So that's this wave B, this complicated wave 2 or wave B most likely gives me hope that this wave B here is correct. So there's still boxes that need to be ticked in all of these. So anyway, this needs a bit of time to resolve, but gold would be telling me that this would be wave 1 down here. So with that said, I should check the other pairs actually. So gold, okay, so I haven't updated. This is a little bit messy here, but it doesn't really matter. We've been, you know, if we just go back to the beginning here. So this is the weekly here. This is, you know, this is yesterday we had a look at gold stocks, and that was the day to buy. You know, you can continue to buy gold stocks, but yesterday was the day to do it. Now, any stock that any gold stock, you know, Newmont, ABX, GDX, whatever you got in your country, that's got the same pattern as this is a goer. But this is wave 3 and 4 here, and then wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and going up for wave 5. So we could end up at 3,000, we could end up higher, we could end up at 250, but based on the size of wave 1 here, if wave 3 is going to be, well, you know, the way to do it is, if I can do this here for a moment, is to, do I need to do it that way? I don't have my extensions on this, so that's not quite correct. Okay, I don't normally do this sort of thing, but so we take the length of wave 1 and then we drag this thing and put it onto wave 2 low here, and then we project up here to this. So that should be wave 3 up there, and that would kind of make sense a little bit. There's Fibonacci ratios all over the place, but anyway, that 2.5 here will be it. So it's our job to I mean, obviously the 2000 here doesn't have support yet. You know, it's been testing it. You know, Gann would always say the 4th time, you know, after a triple top, it will go through. So this is 1, 2, 3, and they're all separate, reasonably enough separate. So this is looking pretty damn good. So based on that, we'll pick it up. We've got this 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 in here. So on the daily chart here, we've got this wave 2 here and wave 1 and 2 here, and then we've also got sort of wave 1s and 2s in here, but this is it, you know. You can trade leverage in here, it's okay, but because it's such a long haul, it's good to have, you know, non-leveraged things are not going to have overnight financing, because overnight financing, margin or CFDs or whatever it is, you know, I mean, I'm grateful that they're there, but you need to use them properly, because you're getting, it's compound interest daily, and you're getting charged at a higher, as the price goes up, you're getting charged at a higher price each day as well. So it's compounding daily. So, you know, if you've, you know, it can get very expensive. You've got a couple $100,000 in there, you could be looking at $5,000 a week, you know, so depending on how many positions you got in there. So it's a lot, right? So just be mindful of that sort of stuff. So this is getting into the intraday now, so we were looking at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. I think I got to lift this wave one further up here, you know, because otherwise I'm just going to be a little bit short on this. I'll have to put this as 1 and 2 in here and so on. Just going to be a little bit short. The third wave stepping out quite nicely. I suppose I could do, yeah, a little bit. Doesn't fit quite well, and they're not good enough anyway. But anyway, you get my picture. This should be really strong here because we're getting, you know, we're in the third of the third of the third of the third of the third, yada yada. This is where you can kind of get gaps and those sorts of things. But I may need to put this wave one up here further or something. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. So I might have to just expand it out. I have to move with it, you know. But that's okay. We know where we are. I'm not sure what we've been looking at in here. Okay, this is it here. So let's just have a look at our positions and things. We've hit it really hard here, which is we've done, you know, which I wouldn't normally do, but where we are in the structure, it's the right thing to do. So we've got all of these here and whatever's below that in good places now. So what we want to do now is we'll bring this stop to this one just under here, because I don't have support on top of number 3 yet. I only move stops when, according to the trading levels, I only move stops when the next level or group of levels have become the support. It's as simple as that. So it will probably won't come back and test the number 3 here because of where we are within the structure, you know, 1s and 2s and 1s and 2s and all that sort of stuff. So once the number 5 up here becomes the support, then we can bring the stop up under here for that, you know. But we can't do that yet because number 3 hasn't had support yet. So we've got a bit of exposure, but we have hit it hard and it's all good. And we're going to keep on hitting it hard. You know, when we get to, you know, you can expect some type of consolidation in group 2 here, and then you can expect something like this to occur here, and then a push up in here, and then we're going to see all of this. Now, all of this here, this consolidation in here, this is going to become the support later on for whatever's going to occur in here. This is all going to be supporting stuff here. So we'll be building in over here with all of this. We may pick up another position in here, but that would be about it. We're not going to bother about this. We'll be over this side because this will be all just timing aspect over here. Anyway, we'll see how it goes, but that's a general gist of the plan at the moment. We're doing all the right things at the right time. So you should be making a shitload in here at the moment. And then the same for silver as well. So we've also been hitting this hard as well. So we've brought the stop up here yesterday. We've got blue 1 and blue 2 here, 1 and 2. And we're looking at this as 1, 2, 3. So yesterday we were also buying the pullback here in the box. I just put the entry thing in there. But we had the box there in green, and that's all good. We don't need to do much at the moment with any of this, so there'll be, let me just check on this a little bit. So this is the medium level here, the 25. So we're seeing 1, 2, 3. So we're going to come up here, and then we've got, so then we'll look at, this is a wave 4. We can build back in here again as well, but we'll just chill for a moment. You know that bigger picture I was talking about gold before, you know, see how this is all of group 2 in here, this little group here. See how it created that support, that resistance? That's going to become the support over here, and this is what we'll be looking for to help build in here for this. So we should see some sort of move up and then some sort of corrective move here somewhere and then a move up again. And how long was wave 1 here? Yeah, we might get a retest of that. We'll see how that looks. I'll check on that. But we could get another move back here before moving off. Let me just check on this. Still a bit short for, so this is wave 2 down here. So it's a third of the third of the third. So then, yeah, I think we do need to build in. We need to buy the pullback again and build in over here above the level perhaps. We've got to get something in here. When this level becomes the support, the tested support with, you know, this 25 here, then we can move the stop up at that point. Okay, so we'll just leave that at the moment. It's all going good. What you see here is not what you get next, so to speak, but we will be pushing up higher. Okay, so metals and mining, we've either got this completed. I mean, if this wasn't done here, then I wouldn't have a triangle, just that little tiny top there above this one here. Otherwise, I look at this as down for wave 1 with an A, B, C, back for 2, 3, 4, 5. So an A and a B and a C here, then 1 and 2 here, and building to the upside. But because this little move in here too is not in 5 waves, it's corrective. So it makes me think this is going to be all corrective as well here. So this is sort of bugging me for basically for copper as well. So we will go up higher because that's 5 waves in that little move here. So we still need to see, it's slowing down a bit, but we still need to see more here. But I'm just wondering if we get this turn here for this, you know. That's the thing. Or we just keep going up. We were long in copper, but we got out of it. So I'm just going to move that there. So this is iron ore, this is China Dalian Exchange, and we were looking at, I'll need to rearrange this. I mean, wave 1 and 2 here is okay, but this wave 3, 4, 5 is going to be too small for this, I think. Oh, it's not too bad. Still a bit small. Still too short. I mean, the worst case scenario here is this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so an A and a B and a C, but we're not getting that in the bigger picture. Yesterday we were looking for a top and a turn. Well, we already had the turn, so we're looking for wave 4 to pull back into the medium level here, so that's occurring. There's another 2-3 days to go in here, so I'm not going to go into the intraday just yet. So nothing to do here. This will affect not so much FMG, but more so Rio and Vale, more direct consequences of that. You can leave that there. And we come over to copper. So I'm still, we might move back into this, but just not yet, because we can look at this as 5 waves, then the correction, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here and 5. So we still may just get a top here, and then this would make this here an A and a B and a C wave here, and then a drop, you know. So we could look to build long above that top there. So we got out of this yesterday with a small profit, and I just wanted to reassess it a little bit because I haven't quite got a grip on, because it depends on which copper market that you look at too, high grade copper or the futures market. And the LME and so on and so on, but we'll see. I mean, if we can get, I mean, all of this here is looking quite corrective, you know. So as a B wave here or some WXY or something, that would be fine, you know. It's not looking that impulsive here, you know. So we could get a leg like up here for this, not so much this one, but the same leg distance here we could get over here for this, which is obviously takes us quite high, but in the bigger picture it's here, you know. Yeah, so I'm just a bit unsure about this market, but anyway, I'll get it. So that's that, and then we've got uranium, sorry. And we know the bigger trend behind all of this is fine. So we also know too that it's going to spend, you know, months here and correcting here. So we don't want to add to the position here. We could talk about taking some part profit off up here and then putting that back in over here. That wouldn't be too difficult. So we could do that. We'll need to get a bit of a... This here is a little bit messy in my view. So what I was just basically waiting for was more price action up here, because then I could say, oh, that's definitely the third wave there, Pete. So you'll have to put all... That could be wave 1 and 2, and that could be 1 and 2, but at least that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So there might be an extra little one up here. That sort of thing. So... I haven't really bothered with... I don't need to bother about it. You know, as I mentioned, we've got that 5 waves here, and we've got this corrective move here. We'll be taking out that top. So we're trading with the trend. The trend is our friend in this case. So we're not trading against the trend. That's if you've got an edge, my edge is the Elliott wave and the trading levels and volume and the patterns that are created. These patterns here, this is my edge here, but the other besides that, I need to trade with the trend. Trading with the trend, buying a pullback, using the trading levels and the classic trading level patterns. There's 3 different types, mainly just 2 of them, and you know your levels, so they're great for stops and targets and everything else. So it really simplifies things a lot. Rightio, enough waffling, and then we come over to the energy sector. And with the energy sector here, so this XLE here, we're seeing gas weak and crude strong. So this here, we're looking at this as there's just different ways to look at this really. I'm looking at this as all the A wave here, then an A, B, C for the B wave, and down for the C wave over here. That's what I'm thinking, you know. But I understand that we could use the low here and look at this as wave 1 to the upside, and then wave 2 low coming in where there's a bit of a long shot there. I don't sort of hold much hope for that. But we're in here at the 61.8% mark here. So we knew there was going to be support here. And we're looking at this here just being... from the low here, it's an A wave, a B wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, moving up there higher. So a bit of a rally and then down again at that point. So yeah, it's a little bit sort of tricky, this one. So we're not really calling any trades on this. So then we've got crude oil. So we've got the... What did I hear about the Saudis yesterday? Doing something with Africa, selling into Africa, controlling the price. Their strategy was to push the price up, something of that nature. I haven't read the article, but anyway, yesterday we talked about we can have a low in here, alternative wave 5. It could be wave 3 with an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave up here for wave 4. So I don't know. It could be both. So it could be either of them, rather. So I don't know if we've got wave A, B, and C here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we come down again. Or we've got wave 1 and 2 in a bigger picture to the upside, and 1 and 2. Yesterday we talked about going long here. So now we can move the stop up to this point here. So we can just, when I move it up, we will say the 75 here. And what that means is that if it did come down, we need the first low below the level. So if it did come down, it's going to bounce off here, and then it's going to come down and bounce through it. And then it might recover at that point, you know, and that's your stop at that point. And a lot of times it does recover at that point. It's like these dudes here, you know. So you just got to keep working each new low. But that's the strategy for that. We haven't exactly halved our risk, but we've reduced it, which is step 1. Break even is step 2. You know, we could get cocky and put it just under here, but what sort of bothers me with this particular market is that we could look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, and then we could have an ABC pattern here and just spike down quite deep, you know, 80%, and take us out, you know. If a CFD provider could see it down there, they might take it, you know, and then that changes it, you know. So we just need to give it a wide berth. Yeah, but once this group 2 here, which is the resistance, becomes the support, then we can lift the stop up to break even at least. So anyway, that's crude, and I don't need to do much of that. So natural gas. So yeah, I wanted to ask folks what markets they actually trade with gas, and what I mean by that, are they trading CFDs? Are they trading the spot, or they're trading the E-minis on the spot? Those sorts of things, because different markets are showing me different, same patterns, but different tops and bottoms, and it's kind of a little bit tricky to assess. So, but in the bigger picture here, we were looking at this being wave 4 rally here. Didn't quite meet our target area up here, but that's okay. Yeah, so it's really being sold off now, and what's happened here is that the $3 been rejected, so that means that it'll be pulled down to the next level, which is the $2.50. Now there is group 2 in here that will find some sort of support in there, but this particular move here, when we look at it in different markets, it's kind of interesting. Where are we here? So here, and this is gas here, so just get it in the frame a bit, so I hope you can see that there. I'll just pull this in over here. So this top here is different with different markets. So this is the E-mini gas futures on NYMEX. I mean, this is a short trade here. I just didn't, I fell asleep at the wheel, unfortunately, but it would have been this low to go short on, and then lifting it up to go this short here, but we didn't do it. I was expecting an A and a B and a C wave up here and then down, but anyway, what this is, see how that's dipped below the level and then gone up? So that's, if you had a long stop here, then the stop would go under this. You have to wait for the first low below the level. And the same here as well, and then lift it up to here, and then you get stopped out. But you kind of at least work it, but in this case it pushed up, So it's basically working numbers, and that's really what trading is. So yeah, this here, whichever way you look at it, this is going to be 1, 2 here, and the third wave here, and a fourth and a fifth, even at this point, So then you've got probably a fourth after this, and a fifth coming down here even further. So this is quite bearish here, whichever way you want to look at it. Different markets have got this at different tops here. This is just the gas fund, which is kind of interesting as well. This is a bit short to be a third wave in here, so to look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doesn't really count that well. We could go 1, 2 here, 3, 4, 5. That makes a nice third wave. So there's just there's different ways of this has got further to go, of course. So there's just different ways of looking at this, natural gas here. This is the spot market. Yeah, the spot market, natural gas. I don't know what they call it, spot. What does that mean? I mean, obviously there's a spot market, but is this a CFD over that spot market, I guess? But this here is different. We've got 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2 here. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for third, fourth, fifth. This takes us way down here. Do you know what I mean? This is frighteningly low here. So it's definitely a good short trade here. Even if you wanted to short it from here, that would be fine. You would just need to leave the stop, above this last high here to, to handle that situation. And then we've got this natural gas one here as well. So yeah, they could all be counted a little bit. This one here hasn't even taken this low out here yet. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not quite sure. I mean, the USD they work in. Even if it's in US dollars, even if it's on the NYMEX is still using the British thermal unit here, and not tons and so on here. Far as I know, anyway. But I'm not an energy trader, so yeah. I'm just finding I'm getting, the more markets that I look at in gas, I'm getting slightly different patterns. But the main point is that it's down. The number 3 is being rejected. and it's got to get through group 2. So this is group 2 here in this case. Always get that consolidation in here. So it's going to take, it's got support here. This is the support, so it's got to have more support here. So this low might not be that low there. You could probably lift that. So that's where if you're trading this particular market, we could short this, I guess, now with a small position, but then the next position would be group 2 here as the resistance, with the first low below the level, and then the kickback, and then down at that point. Alrighty, I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, so thanks for tuning in. Cheers.